Hello, live again for a class that I'm taking for ORU at Spirit Empowered Living. And this is my personal testimony on my salvation. Started very young, actually. And parts of my testimony, as we all have them, my testimony started at a very young age. I remember moments that led up to my mother finally walking away from a partying lifestyle and going back to the church. So at the age, I can remember things from the ages of like 2, even a couple of things back to a year and a half, which is weird, but I can remember times at the age of 2 to 2.5, when my mother and father would be partying. And I remember one specific detail and how I was crying down through the floor grade into the first floor. I was up on the second floor alone in a bedroom crying down for my parents during that time. And to no avail. And I remember that moment, just that brief moment. I remember a moment being hid away in the attic because my dad was going to come home. And my mother was in fear of the repercussions of actions that I had done at the age of like 2. I had rolled our car into a field. And so my dad wasn't going to be too happy about that. I remember the abuse here and there, and there's other parts of the testimony that I remember. My father died tragically a few years ago in a car accident, and when he was sober, he was the most beautiful man you could meet. But then when he struggled in the past, there was moments, but he overcame those, and those parts of his testimony. But so at the age of about 6 or 7 years old, my mother started going back to church, and that's when I just got on, started like being really intrigued by stories and Jesus and all those, and I can say I gave my heart to the Lord then, but I did so again at the age of 13 at a Christian camp, where I realized that, even though I was in the church, that this was fully me. This is what I wanted to do. So we were out at a Christian camp, Camp for Haven in Brooks, Maine, and I gave my heart to the Lord, and I just decided that day that the love of the Father, the Heavenly Father, was something that could have never been filled by any earthly father. My stepfather tried to do the best that he could do to raise us. He came into the picture at around 8 years old, and he tried his best, and I appreciate that, and I honor that for how he stepped up. But the love of the Father is what drew me in, and how safe I felt with him. I had nightmares at the age of 7 or 8 years old, or I can remember, and then I would ask Jesus to come into my prayers in the middle of the night. I would come into my mind, and he did, and he met me there, and some of those nightmares went away. So that is my short testimony as to where it led me and how I came to know Christ in such an early age. Because of some of those traumatic experiences. And I know that doesn't happen for everyone, and my hopes that does. And as the word says, we overcome them by the power of our testimony. So it's good to have this class and to come back to that moment and realize where I came from and where God has brought me. So for that, I appreciate this assignment. Thank you for watching, and be blessed. I don't know. Stop.